the go-ahead? All right. My name is Darius Sean, I'm chair of the Albany City of Albany Industrial Development Agency Finance Committee, and I call this meeting to order. We have, I think, 5 members of the board here today, and a quorum for the purposes of this meeting. Our first order of business is to ask for a motion for a waiving of the reading of the minutes, having been previously distributed, and ask for, in the same motion, approval of those minutes.
I'll make a motion.
All right. Second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. All right. We have no report from the Chief Financial Officer today or unfinished business, but we do have new business. Induspad Flair, LLC, 38 Corporate Circle. This is a project that is essentially a relocation of a warehouse from more downtown Albany to one of the office parks out on our Albany's Panhandle. It's not a request for real estate property tax abatements, but it is a request for mortgage and sales tax abatements. It will keep a warehouse in Albany, keep jobs in Albany, and create some other jobs. So with that, I offer, I don't know if there's anything from staff to discuss.
Yes,
prior?
thank you. So as the chair noted, the project in the committee today, Induspad Flair LLC. This project involves the new construction of an approximate 75,000 square foot distribution and office facility off of New Carner Road, as the chair noted, in the city of Albany. The request at hand, again, as the chair noted, is for sales and mortgage recording tax only. And we're just going to quickly run through the staff project summary before we turn it over to the development team to answer any questions. Also of note, before we jump into the summary, this project was introduced last month, and a public hearing was just held prior to this meeting where no public comments, either in person nor written, were received. The project involves the construction of a distribution and office facility. The cost of the project is an estimated $11.2 million. Of note, this project is not receiving requesting real property tax abatements, but nonetheless, we're going to run through quickly some of the community community benefits that this project is going to provide. The proposed project is located on vacant land. And the proposed project also supports multiple initiatives within the Albany 2030 plan. The proposed project is the construction of a manufacturing distribution facility. And in terms of job creation, the project is committing to the retention of 22 full-time jobs, the creation of 13 permanent full-time jobs, and 49 construction jobs on site. And with that, I'll turn it over to the development team to answer any questions. Thank you.
What we just had a brief presentation in the public hearing we had prior to this meeting. I don't have any further questions. I think we've introduced the project quite thoroughly. I'll turn it over to the board if anybody has any questions. I would note that one of my questions was whether or not this impacts the Pine Bush, but it does not. It's redevelopment of property that's already developed. It keeps a it's not often you're able to find places to build a warehouse these days, and having one in the city of Albany, we're somewhat fortunate, I think, in that regard. So, does anybody else have any questions? Is there anything you'd like to add from the development team? Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Well, with that, I guess we're ready for a motion ask for a motion for a positive recommendation for the approving resolutions to the full board.
So moved.
Lee?
Second.
All right. Any other questions, discussion? All those in favor? Aye. All right. Your job here is done.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Our next order of business is conference room IT upgrade.
This is really, really exciting. And so Tom is going to run through this with us for a second. But this is something that the committee and the board has asked us for a couple of times over. So Tom's been working diligently with our IT providers to make sure that we're figuring out the best possible solution to make these meetings as transparent as possible for the public, but also as seamless for the board, and obviously also for the staff going back and forth with trying to deal with all the wires and programs and whatnot. So with that, I'll turn it over to Tom to walk you through.
Sure, and I've put together just a sort of a brief summary. So in 2019, we were required by law to live stream and record all of the meetings of the IDA, including public hearings. We have been in compliance with that. We installed the camera, shortly afterwards, and there's just been a lot of advances in the world of video conferencing with the pandemic, and so. In addition, as the board knows, we have had some sort of technical issues from time to time. Today's live stream is actually a video camera that is plugged into a little TV in the back there, but it's really a kind of a temporary holdover because we've been having some issues with our live streaming equipment. So Capitalize Albany has a professional services agreement with ITS, which is Intelligent Technology Solutions. They've been managing all of our servers, computers, telecom equipment for some time now. This is an agreement that gets reviewed annually, by the corporation, and basically any equipment that gets sort of permanently plugged into our system is effectively managed by ITS. And so with that, we sort of looked at the best way to sort of procure this, and working with ITS we think is the best way to go. For a number of reasons. First is that ITS, when they go through they basically do their own procurement process to identify the technology that's available that meets our needs for the best price. In addition, they're very familiar with all of the, the ins and outs of our server and the security systems that we have in place. In addition, we're also required by our cybersecurity insurance to have one sort of one IT company managing and securing the network. So that's cybersecurity both at the IDA and at Capitalize Albany. So we are recommending that we do a single source to ITS to basically procure the equipment and then install it within this conference room. There is some wiring that's needed. We do have an estimate which I've provided. The total cost is around $10,500. We're still working this out. Just there's really minor things that I think that number will come down a little bit. So what we are seeking is an up to 10.5 amount today for approval.
All right. Anything else on this exciting topic? Okay. Any other questions? Any other observations?
I just did want to note that we did anticipate this when we were preparing the budget, and this will be recorded as a capitalized expense.
Thank you. All right. So do I have a motion to approve this expenditure?
So moved.
All right. Second? Lee, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. Any other discussion? All's in favor? Aye. All right.
Thank you.
On to
It's
next.
going to be so much easier.
All right.
How could you say no? The
I just feel like every single time one of these fine folks has to crawl under the table during a meeting. This will be much better workflow all around. Great. Other business under agency
yeah.
update. I do just want to give a brief update on the inclusionary zoning proposal that you may have seen hit a snag procedurally with the council after their approval the last time around, and after the mayor's veto message had been sent. They had apparently failed to post the notice with the county planning board for that piece of legislation, and so it had to go back to committee. We have been meeting with a number of the largest multifamily developers in the city, with council members individually and as a group, with Alfredo as the committee chair on each of those meetings as well, to walk back through the financial analysis concerns that we had provided previously, since it does have to go back to committee, and because the Planning, Economic Development, and Land Use Committee had not been provided that analysis prior to the vote. We wanted to make sure that they were given the opportunity to fully look through that And so we've been doing that over the past week. There are some good questions being raised by the council. The developers that have been included in those meetings have done a really fantastic job of being able to sort of walk through their numbers and walk through their decision-making process, making it clear that their decisions are not about wanting to work in the city of Albany or not, or wanting to do things that the community wants. It's about what makes sense for their business, and it is about math. And so they have all conveyed that they are deeply committed to doing work in the city of Albany. They can't if the math doesn't work. And so they were each coming at it from the perspective of, you know, really wanting to work with the council on solutions for affordable housing that they are also committed to, that do work, and then trying to find a place where if legislation like this is moving forward, that the numbers work so that the projects can't. All coming back to the premise that right now we are getting 5% of, you know, roughly the 500 additional new units. We don't want to be in a situation where it is between 7 and 15% of zero. That's not a benefit at all. You're not creating affordable housing, and you're not creating market rate housing at that point. So we're providing additional analysis as requested. We're participating in those meetings on behalf of Capitalize Albany and the Industrial Development Agency. So the timeline for that does seem to be rather quick. The council is committed to revisiting that legislation quickly and moving forward, potentially with the vote. I believe March 20th was the target for that. And so we'll keep you posted on that front.
Are they having a committee meeting on this in the near future?
I believe so. I don't know that it's scheduled yet. I'd have to check the schedule and that we can get that around.
Should we participate?
What's interesting is that a lot of the dialogue, both at the previous council meeting as well as in the meetings with the developers, have been coming back to the Industrial Development Agency and this organization's role in development. We've had to answer some frequent flyer questions that we've always had to answer. You know, no, we are not giving grants to projects. Yes, we are doing a cost-benefit analysis. We are not in the business of incentivizing projects here. We're mitigating the tax barriers to projects being able to pencil and move forward. So we're finding that it is a lot of that fundamental IDA conversation as well, and that many of the questions are actually geared toward, if projects are coming through the IDA, should they be doing these things? And again, it really is a math question at this point. So whereas it's not directly an IDA matter, it is something that is asked frequently. So depending on how those conversations go leading up to the committee meeting, there may be a role for either a more formal response from the IDA or participation in that. But we're trying to keep it focused squarely on the math. You know, as you all know, through this organization, we've worked with and benefited more than 1,000 at 1,500 affordable units citywide. At this point, we've got another 1,500 affordable units in the pipeline, and all of those new 1,500 are new units. Where in the past we have worked on rehabbing older units that were desperately in need of rehabilitation, as well as creation of new units. That next 1,500 is by and large net new to the city of Albany. So we're, as an organization, committed to providing affordable housing in the city. Just making sure that that's clear and appreciated is, you know, part of the mission as always.
Okay.
That's all I've got on agency update. And as we move into compliance update, I did throw these guys for a loop a little bit. I called it a little bit of an audible. You know, we had planned to go again line by line through the jobs reporting, being that we just did that at the audit committee within the past 2 days. I suggest we go through a little bit of a general overview today, and then wait for the board meeting next week when we have updated information. We have the full contingent of the board present as well to be able to do sort of our final line by line on that. And if that's okay, I'll turn it over to Emma for a little bit of an overview of where we are.
That's fine. Yeah.
Those of you on Monday, this will be repetitive. We don't have any new information for those of you who weren't here as part of the audit committee. I can give the broad overview, and you won't have to sit through it twice. So that's good news. So we have 72 active straight lease projects. 66% of them have reported at least a draft version of their IDA annual compliance. The annual compliance focuses heavily on jobs numbers as per the state reporting and Paris reporting. We're working with all of our outstanding projects to secure reporting. Some, have reported some difficulty getting numbers from tenants. We've also turned some projects over to Hodgson Russ and are working with them to make sure we have full compliance before our Paris submission at the end of the month. In general, 80% of our reporting projects are at or above the 80% of the committed or retained jobs. So 80% is the number per the IDA bylaws, I believe, or IDA policy is when we review projects if they are underreporting at that 80%. So we have 80% are reporting at or above the 80% mark. And only 5 of those underreporting projects do have a recapture provision in place. So some of the older projects do not have a recapture provision, but we'll go through that all in detail next week.
So you do have in front of you the draft summary sheet that includes all of the jobs reporting. As we mentioned at the audit committee this week, jobs reporting is only one indicator of performance, but it is clearly the prioritized indicator of performance for our regulating agencies and here at the IDA as well. So we have every active project on that sheet that was provided in the materials package under board only. That is also publicly available in the page-by-page Paris report that was distributed as part of the audit committee materials last week. So you can find that up on the website in the materials as well. We encourage you definitely to go through the draft Paris report. The audit committee did discuss you at length already. But in addition to the jobs reporting, you'll see the other performance indicators project by project. You'll also see the rest of the Paris report, which includes board member information. So please check that as well if you haven't already. And we'll be looking at that at the full board meeting next week, where we hope to have additional information. As Emma mentioned, we won't go line by line through anyone that is a significant has a significant deviation from their projected and committed job numbers.
Great. Anything else? More to come. All right. Any other business? Hearing none, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.